Good morning. Would like to call the executive committee for Tuesday, October 24th to order. We can get a roll call, please.
Mr. Hess, Ms. Polk, Ms. Weber, Ms. Parker,
Present.
Mr. Fairfield, Mr. Seroy, Mr. Carrico, Mr. Featherling, Mr. Long, Mr. Eckhoff, Mr. Hunter, Ms. Foster, Mr. Wheeler,
Present.
Mr. Alexander Hildebrand. We have a quorum.
We have really no official public comment. Mr. Hunter, did you have something? Nothing? Okay. Approval of the minutes, September 26, 2023. Is there a motion there? Mr. Alexander, second. Mr. Long, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Thank you. Nothing under legislative today. I'm sure that's going to change for the next meeting. So I think I've been a little bit out of commission, but I believe veto session starts like today. Yeah. So Ben, do you have a report? No, I'm just kidding. Some of our department heads get the notices a lot, what's coming up a lot of times before we do. So IS, Mr. Duval, do you have anything? Yes, please.
First of all, I'm here for any questions, but just a reminder, today is at 4 o'clock today, the last day for vendors to get in their submissions for the RFP for the phone system. We will be opening tomorrow the the bids. I wouldn't expect that. We're not going to make the decision tomorrow. We're just going to open them, say what they are, what they've submitted. We'll move on. This is going to be a lengthy process, as I've always said. It's changing the infrastructure, but this is really a budget issue, so this is going to take some time. We're going to have to work with the finance department so they can take long-term projections and see how it impacts. So don't expect that we'll be back to you right away with this. This really needs to go in depth and make sure we know what the impact it will be on the county. Other than that,
Mr. Hildebrand will join Kevin, Mr. McCarty, and Ms. Beckman in that evaluation team to go through everything. The lowest price is not the lowest cost, and that's kind of what he's getting at. So there has to be a full evaluation, and we expect a larger pool of bidders, which is going to require a longer term to put all this together. So we'll shoot like we were getting it for the finance next month. It may end up going a little bit longer, so we'll let you know. And that's just because he's in this committee. Usually we talk about this tomorrow. So, any questions? Anything about IS for Kevin? Thanks, Kevin. Schools. Mr. Petkunas, do you have anything today? I'm sorry. Yeah, sure. Is there a motion to eliminate John from the? No, I'm just kidding. Mr. Beavis, please. I'm sorry. Health Department. Purely unintentional, as far as you know.
I'm going to stand from back here if that's okay. I don't really have a lot. You obviously have my report. I gave that to Kelly yesterday, and that should be in your packet. Just real quick, I know that as we segue from summer into fall and into winter here, things are slowing down nicely in terms of my opinion in regards to some of our day-to-day. The beginning of the report talks about a lot of the events that we did in the last month within the community. We don't actually have anything scheduled on our radar right now. I think that's just a testament to, the cooler weather. People aren't going to be doing as much outside. A lot of the school health fairs are over because school is settling into place. So a lot of our staff, all of our staff actually, including myself, are just doing the day-to-day stuff. The main thing that I would like to do is I've got Kaylee Zito here. I want to introduce her. So if you come on up, Kaylee. She was going to just talk a little bit. So we have been talking about, obviously, the IRIS implementation within the county, that the ARPA funds are helping to support the purchase of that program. Kaylee Zito is who we have hired to be our IRIS coordinator. So I'm going to segue to let her she's got a brief little report that she'd just like to give an update on what's going on, so that you're not hearing it from me per se. You're going to hear it from the person. and then we'll entertain any questions either from operational standpoints for me if there are any, or any questions you can throw at Kaylee. So thank you.
So hello, good morning. Like John said, my name is Kaylee, and I have been hired as the IRIS coordinator. Can everybody hear me okay?
Turn the
Okay.
mic down just a little bit.
Down like this?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, there you go. Right towards your, yeah.
Thank you. All right, so since August, we've been working on this IRIS implementation, and we are beginning to move out of phase 2 and into phase 3. In case you are unaware, it's an online referral system that's been developed out of the University of Kansas, and its whole mission is to close the loop of a referral and give healthcare providers a glimpse of what happens at the end of a referral. More often than not, we just, especially at the health department, we will give a client a number for another service and say good luck, send them on their way, and we will never know what happens, and IRIS will let us know what happens. So like I said, we're moving into phase 3 out of phase 2. The whole implementation process takes about 6 months as we move through these phases, and launch is projected for late January or early February. And phase 2 ended with the implementation survey. That was sent out to about 24 organizations at the beginning of October. The deadline to complete it was last night. And over the next 2 weeks, the team at Kansas will be developing a data report for us. And during that time at the health department, we will be planning community conversations. These will be 3 bi-weekly meetings that will hopefully be completed before the Christmas holiday. And these meetings will be able to guide us as we create the community standards, which will be the guidebook and kind of the manual that we will run IRIS by. The goal of these meetings is to give our initial cohort of these 24 organizations the space to share their workflows, express their needs, their concerns, so we can tailor IRIS to work for the entire network. And yeah, hopefully the plan is to wrap them up before the Christmas holiday to finish the final couple of 2-week out tasks before import launch. And yeah, that's all I have for you. So if you have any questions for me or John, that'd be great. Yeah.
Just a second, Mr. Hunter. I'm sorry, you gotta say in the mic.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Let me say this to you, Kaylee. You're the second Kaylee I've seen or talked to. There's a lady in Springfield yesterday. I left a message for, and that's kind of unique name. My question: the 24 awardees that you're speaking to, I assume those are ARPA recipients or not?
Yes, some of them are ARPA recipients. I believe they're. I am not too familiar with the clauses in ARPA, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chairman Mueller, but I think there is a clause in ARPA now saying that if they get ARPA funding, they need to do IRIS. Is that true?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the local requirement.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. And we kind of talked at the beginning that there are some that were key to get on board right away, and then once we figured out how to roll this out, we bring the rest of them on board.
Yes.
So there was an initial core group, and then we're bringing on the ones, including all of the ones that received ARPA funds by the second go around, just as a matter of efficiency, and I'm rolling this out.
So when you say that you're going to open this up to macro agencies, I mean, other agencies outside of that 24, that's pretty gargantuan task, but I guess you will receive assessment, pros, cons, recommendations, etc.
Yeah.
And I kind of like what you said in terms of the assessment, and you'll be able to provide a better product to the outside of those 24 that you articulated.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. So, and you have a team too, John, dealing with IRIS. Who are the members of that committee?
The other individuals that are being cross-trained, so Kaylee is the coordinator. She'll be doing the brunt of the work, but we have Kara, Kayla, and then
A lot of Ks, huh?
yeah, just a lot. And but I can throw an L at you. And then we just hired a Lauren who is going to be taking over
yeah,
our
get the memo.
opioid grant program. She's going to be being introduced today. We have a meeting this afternoon with Iris. It's every 2 weeks we have a meeting. So Lauren will be introduced to take the place of Julie Larson, who had resigned in regards to getting exposure, so that in the future, if Kaylee's on vacation or were to take sick or something, or not be available through a conference or something like that, we will have other staff that will be available to go out within the community to make these connections to the other agencies that want to come on board as they see how well this is going within the community. And to circle back real quick, with the original 24, as we said, does include some of the individuals that received that ARPA money. The plan is to include all of them per the requirement of those grant deliverables per the county. But the other ones at this point, we were looking at trying to encompass not just some major players, but some major players that involve like behavioral health, the mental health, the hospitals, the health department, some of the biggest agencies right now where we think some of the more immediate referrals would be coming or going from. Those are the ones that we're including in this original 24. That's just to start the ball rolling down the hill.
Yeah,
It will pick up steam after that, and people will jump on board.
That's super. I'm impressed with your response. Are you in contact, Kaylee or John, with Garden of Prayer, which is the largest African American social service agency in the county? If you're not, make sure you do.
Yeah, I am not, but I can be.
Okay, Michael Maloney, Bernice Maloney, those are the people you probably need to contact. Again, I think, if I'm not mistaken, they were, and Chairman Wheeler, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think they were one of the initial awardees in terms of ARPA funds. I think we even did a video incorporating them as well too. So Garden of Prayer, Michael Maloney, who is the executive director, make sure he's a part of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
You know, something came up in that we never got to the bottom of, and I'm sorry to just spring this on you. Frank is here as well. Iroquois County. We had been asked about, there's some people that cross the border, if you will, and I can't remember if we did the resolution that it was to serve Kankakee County residents only, because we did that with some that crossed over. There is a reason, though, for us to be able to allow this to happen, as long as Iroquois County, and I'll use this example, and it may be a bad example, as long as people that would use Harbor House in Iroquois County aren't coming up here to use Harbor House in our county and take those resources with. You understand what I'm saying? We have an obligation to the taxpayers here, but there is some crossover. Have we looked to see if there's a way to limit that exposure, if you will, to duplicative services?
So over the next 2 months, Amy LaFine and I will be speaking to Liz Gibson at Birth to 5 Illinois to kind of alleviate that. We have sort of a pre-planning meeting in November, and then we will be present at their December council meeting. And there is some talk about Iroquois County obtaining their own funds for Iris. I'm sure you know. So Amy and I will be going down there to kind of iron that out and bring the news back. So
okay, all right, just we're open to that. I guess we just would want to protect the taxpayers here and those services that are currently provided.
And like some natural crossover will happen with, like, ICANN is a big one.
Right. Right.
And as long as we're serving the people, that is like the main goal, and that will be fantastic. But you do have to keep in mind, like, whatever restrictions we have.
Right. Is that acceptable for this committee, at least as term of a policy, still proceed down that road? It's kind of head nod, and if there is a change that needs to happen, we'll talk about it. Is that okay? All right.
And if I might just piggyback again on my recommendations, Natalie Ojeda, who was the chairperson for the Hispanic Partnership of Kankakee County, probably needs to be contacted and be a part of this thing as well too.
Yeah, I have been contacting her.
Okay.
I can follow up if need be, but
yeah. Well, thank you.
Any question? Yes, Ms. Foster.
Thank you, Chairman. This isn't a question, but I just wanted to thank Mr. Beavis, his staff with the environmental health. I made a couple of phone calls because we had excessive garbage at Citgo gas station, and I had taken pictures, and on both occasions they called me back. They talked with the owner and getting ready to talk with the new owner to get that taken care of. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thank you. Take care. We're gonna skip over Mr. Petkunas. No, I'm just kidding. Frank from the regional office, I can. Yeah, please.
Good morning, everybody. If I could just mention about the IRIS piece and the Iroquois County, obviously our office serves both Kankakee and Iroquois County, and IRIS would definitely benefit the school districts. And for my office to have to say, yes, I can handle Kankakee County schools, but I can't help Iroquois County schools, that's a challenge. And from my research with IRIS, it's my understanding that they have no geographic limitations. So they can make the geographic area whatever you want it to be. So that's not an issue from my understanding. So for whatever that's worth, hopefully we can work that out. From our office, we had our joint ed committee meeting on October 5th. So our report was provided to the joint ed committee on that day. I just wanted to touch base on a couple of things that are going on that I thought might be of interest to you. You probably have seen that there was a public hearing for the St. Anne School District consolidation last week. So we're in the process now of evaluating all of the testimony, evidence, and exhibits that were provided at that hearing, and it's my responsibility to make a recommendation to the state superintendent by November 1st, whether to recommend that that petition be approved, to allow it to be on the ballot in March for the voters to decide whether or not to approve consolidation of St. Anne Grade School and St. Anne High School District into one. And then the state superintendent will look at the evidence and make a final determination at that point. Then it's up to the voters. So the voters get the final say in March to determine whether or not that will take place. So that's where that's at. Today and tomorrow there is a training going on at KCC that is being sponsored by the Kankakee County Sheriff and school districts and first responders have been invited. It's a standard response protocol training, and the goal of the training is to get everybody using the same language in regards to emergency and crisis response. It's pretty exciting. There's over 85 people attending, so really good turnout. And so the goal is to get everybody working together, having the same terminology. An example of why this is necessary is when the police department contacts a school or calls for a lockdown, a school district, every school district has a different response to that lockdown term. Hard lockdown, soft lockdown, it's different for everybody. So this training is a national movement effort to try to get everybody talking the same language. I know Kankakee School District 111 has been using this, I think, for the last couple of years. So we're trying to get everybody else in Kankakee and Iroquois County using this. Last year, some of the school districts have been installing emergency radios that in the, like the district office or the school office, that if there's an incident that happens, they can push a button and it goes right to CANCOM, and it's a one-way communication, and CANCOM can hear everything that's going on in that space. So without anybody having to do anything, that transmission is happening, and that system installation process taking place kind of got the conversation going that we all have different plans in place. So when our emergency response personnel are going to the different school districts with this radio, it would be really nice if we all had the same understanding of what we're going to do when. So things are coming together for these kind of things, and I met with the trainer yesterday, and he even said that he's from Texas, and he's a school district administrator, and he said he even uses it on a daily basis. If there's an incident in the building, a fight or whatever, he uses it for that, to manage his building on a daily basis. It's not just for crisis. So it's pretty interesting stuff. So nice opportunity, and I thought it'd be good that you're aware that that's going on. I think that's all I got.
Any questions? Mr. Hunter.
I'll yield to Rosemary.
Lauren, I had a question about the consolidation and how that is going to affect Lorenzo 259 district.
Yeah, and we're looking at all of that right now, and that's what the hearing was about, was to gather all of that information and sit down and look. So my decision whether to approve or reject the petition is based on what's best for all students and the community in all the affected districts. So I'm still looking at all that. I have to make sure that I analyze that, and I'm still in that process. So I don't have an answer for you, but we're looking at all that.
If that would happen, would that mean that children who lived in the furthest eastern part, like Gertine Road, would be eligible grade school to go to the St. Anne grade school?
The way that it's set up is that any student that currently lives in the St. Anne grade school district would be in the same district, the same new district. Okay, so let me see if I can explain that. It would not impact any current St. Anne or Pembroke grade school district student at all, as far as where they attend school. Does that make sense?
I hear what you're saying. I don't know if that's going to work out like that, and that's my concern.
That's the way that the district will be formed. Is it will not impact any district boundary for St. Anne grade school or Pembroke, Lorenzo.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I know you're in the process of assessing pros and cons, etc. Can you rattle off 5 positive aspects of consolidation?
I mean,
I'm sure you have
the
some
reasons,
intrinsic.
and I'm not going to talk specifically about St. Anne, but the reasons why districts would consolidate is for efficiencies between administration, transportation, being able to purchase services, insurance, purchasing power, things like that benefit having one district versus 2. Currently they have, I'll talk about St. Anne now. Currently St. Anne has 1 superintendent serving 2 school districts, but they have 2 school boards, 2 sets of books, 2 insurance, 2 unions. So those are some things that would change if they were to consolidate.
Have you been a part of any past consolidations in your
Yes,
employment history?
yeah, we worked with Milford to consolidate their grade school district and their high school district, and that was a very simple consolidation in that it was the same community, a grade school district and a high school district combining, whereas this one is a grade school district and a high school district, but we have another grade school district involved in the high school district currently. So this is what's called a hybrid district. It's an optional elementary unit district, and the reason it's called optional is because both elementary districts have the option to participate in the consolidation, but they don't have to. And so in this case, Pembroke has opted to not participate in the consolidation, and that's perfectly fine. They don't have to. So that's why this one's a little different than the Milford one.
Are there any aspects in the Milford template that you could potentially use in this one?
other than the fact that the two districts had one superintendent and combined financials and things like that.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Thanks, Frank.
Thank you.
The quarterly report. Is there a motion to put the quarterly report of the superintendent of schools for ICANN on file? Mr. Eckhoff and Mr. Fairfield, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those
Aye.
opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Looks like we don't have VAC today. County Administrator, Anita Speckman, monthly update.
Good morning. I think I'll be rather brief this morning. So in terms of new employees and hirings and job openings, it's been a pretty quiet month. Last month we had 17 openings, 11 postings, so some are multiples. And this month we have 10 positions, 10 postings and 15 openings. So same thing, we took just one position down. We were able to fill our staff accountant position, which a month ago I sat here and said it's difficult to find that filled, but that's the one that got filled this month. So call me a liar, but there you go. Sometimes I'm right, sometimes I'm not. So we have a new employee starting, I think, in the next week or two. So that posting, actually that fulfillment came from Indeed, which we've been using for our accounting positions the last couple times and getting some more success out of there and getting some visibility there. So real pleased with that happening. And again, with that kind of lack of activity, we canceled our new employee orientation this month. We had 5 people that had reserved a spot, but 3 of those are not eligible until January 1st. So what we do is go through the regulatory paperwork that has to be filed for their HR file. So things like their sexual harassment and receiving the policy manual, receiving a flyer about FMLA, etc. So there are certain papers that we need to have them sign that they receive this paperwork. That goes in there. We don't do that for employees that are members of the health department or the regional office of education, which was the other 3 employees, because we don't keep their personnel files. They are really there to participate in learning about the benefits. Well, the benefit video is not done for next year yet, and the amounts will change. So this time of year, usually out of the last 3 months, we may cancel 2 new employee orientation, and we'll do those either one-on-one or we'll just delay a month until we have all that paperwork for next year ready to go. So that's kind of where we're at right now with the low numbers of reservations. We went ahead and canceled this month. So other than that, what I am working on is new employee or open enrollment materials, trying to get that started. The first step is for me to go through all those rates that we got and lay all that out, and then I transfer that over to Kelly, who works with Paylocity and WebBen to get that loaded into our software system appropriately. So she's waiting on me right now, and I'm working on that. But in the meantime, I have gotten just a lot of FMLA activity in the last, within 2 days, I had 6 new requests for FMLA leave, which is a lot. So I kind of have put the open enrollment on a back burner. I'm trying to get this FMLA activity done. I think that's going to finish up today, getting there are regulations in terms of how quickly I respond to a request or a submission of paperwork. So I'm keeping that in line. And then, so then I'll switch back to open enrollment. So busy time upstairs. Between now and the end of the year, we'll be scrambling. That's all I have.
Any questions about that or anything else?
Questions? Okay, good.
Thanks. Under administrative, I have a few appointments and a reappointment. I'll just maybe read them all into the record and get a motion to combine and approve. If somebody wants to talk about one separately, we can. I have the appointment of Dan Sockel to the Kankakee County Sheriff Merit Commission, appointment of Dr. Diane Fedro as the vet on the Animal Welfare Advisory Committee, appointment of Michelle Creasy to the Animal Welfare Advisory Committee, and reappointment of Dennis Johnson to the Moments and Yellowhead Drainage number 1. Is there a motion to combine and approve? Mr. Eckhoff, Mr. Featherling. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Under openings, I have one opening of the following. McGilvery Special Drainage District, Cabry, Area Fire Protection District, Essex Township Fire Protection District, BM Lewis Drainage District, Wilmette Pembroke Union Drainage number 1, Kankakee County Public Building Commission, Union Drainage number 2, and I have 2 openings on the Animal Welfare Advisory Committee. Do we expect those to be reappointments, or are these new appointments, Ms. Barker?
We are looking at 2 new appointments.
Okay. So,
Candidates. They're going to, I'm going to be talking to one of them. They're going to be coming to our next meeting and see if they would like to fill out the application.
all right. So if you know somebody who's interested in pet welfare, animal welfare in the county, obviously throw them towards, I would say probably have a conversation with the chair of AWAC first to see, so they would understand what the committee does. In their advisory role, but please send them in that direction. There's a lot of folks out there who are actively doing one part of something, you know, and it's what they can usually, or what they can afford. It's in some cases what they can't afford. They still do it anyway. So,
That's right.
I appreciate that. Thanks, Tinker, for getting that together. We have one thing under new business first. It's the pictures are in your packet. I've been talking with a local vendor about a intranet page, where it's a page for our employees, yourselves, anybody that wants to buy apparel or swag, totally on their own dime. Yeah, well, you got lots of that, Steve. We're still trying to catch up, but no, they can pay for it on their own dime. We're not subsidizing this in any way. It's just making it available for the employees if they want to have a Kankakee County, you know, like dress shirt, polo. So you see some examples of the pictures, you know, in there. So I just, I wish wouldn't do it, even though there's no financial commitment on our part. So if there's any questions, that's just a start of the product. I will say this though, one of the things that we have an issue with is minimum orders. Okay, so there's only products on there that our employees or yourselves could buy one-offs of. Okay, like if you want to have like coffee mugs, that will take a investment up front to get reimbursed. Does that make sense? Because they got to make like 500 of them. They can't just make one mug. So if you want to go down that road, we can get some prices and decide what we think is appropriate. Maybe listen to our employees, you know, like I put one of those Patagonia vests on there, even though they don't make them my size, because I know people like them. But again, there may be something the employees enjoy, like I say, coffee mugs, keychains, whatever. So do you want me to explore that? And then, because we wouldn't be paying for it, we'd have to buy it on the front end and just have 500 sitting there, and then the reimbursement comes as they buy them.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, Tinker.
Jim, I am so glad when I opened up the packet to see this, because many of us, I have especially, been exploring different types of clothing to have to order and then have to have it logoed. And I'm really happy for this, because many of us would like to wear a polo shirt in the summer to a meeting or any event to have a really nice jacket. I am really happy, and I'll probably be the first one to order. I'm excited.
Well, thank Mr. Hunter. Thank Mr. Hunter.
Thank you, Mr. Hunter. Thank you. I am. I think it's a great idea, and I think many of us feel the same way.
You know, I didn't even think about sizing. We're going to have a conversation to see if they have Hunter Wheeler sizing. So, yeah, so we'll yeah, exactly. Yes, we've seen better days that way. So if there's any questions about that, let me know. But I'll start to get together what the employees might want to have, and then we'll go from there. Whether it's mouse pads or something like that, I don't really know. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You go through these different conferences and stuff, Mr. Chairman. You see some of the elected officials have the same blazers and stuff, with their little insignia on there. It's kind of impressive.
Right, right. Dressed to impress, but also to show that cohesive nature of what's going on. And I guess the departments could use it if they wanted to pay for a logo and have departmental uniforms and things like that. You know, so again, this all falls under the purview of how they want to run their departments. If they want to give, you know, their employees 20% off for the month of December, you know, on the company store, if you will, that happens all the time in these types of situations. So it would just have to be the right funds would have to be used, if you will. You can't just use that and have it not be a uniformed expense for that. Believe me, we'll hear about it in finance as even legitimate expenses are questioned. Any other new business? Old business? Any motions, Mr. Hess? To adjourn, to make this go another hour? No? Okay. Adjourn, I think. Featherling? Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, same sign.